The only foolproof way you're going to be able to learn how to draw people is to practice. So you're going to go over to quickposes.com. You're going to pick what kind of poses, what kind of models you want to practice from. Then you go from 30 seconds to 60 seconds all the way to 5 minutes. And this is going to be like your warm up, your practice to learn how to conceptualize the entire figure. Now, these look really simple. And they're meant to be so that your brain can practice figuring out where everything is placed, the measurement of things, how long the torso is, the legs, etc. Okay, so let's practice the 30-second one. You're going to grab your pencil. I usually start with any of the H pencils. This is like drawing with a rock, so you're going to go as light as you possibly can. Now, in 30 seconds, I have to capture the head, the shoulders, the hips, and the movement of the spine. Part of this arm is in perspective, so we have to be careful to foreshorten that part of the arm. When you're first starting to practice this gesture drawing, you might have trouble figuring out how to abstract different aspects of the body and measuring the spaces between where everything should be placed. So I'm actually always measuring the negative space to figure out where, say, the hand is placed compared to where the leg comes out from the arm and how far apart those feet are. You can see this little triangle shape that is being made between those two roller skates. So obviously you're going to do a lot of these to warm up with, to practice with. So if your first sketch doesn't come out looking great, don't worry about it. We're going to keep doing this. You can already see here that I didn't put this foot out far enough on the left side compared to what we see in the picture. And I didn't spend enough time abstracting the different parts of the body to be able to find the measurements correctly before I started in on the details. So now I'm going to wind up running out of time. Now that you kind of have an idea of how to do the gesture drawing, let's try one more time with a 30-second sketch with this picture. So first I'm finding the position of the head and I'm abstracting the arms and finding the position of the hand. Now I'm using the negative space to find the position of the legs and the distance between the two roller skates. I'm going to abstract the shape of each shoe while also trying to determine the shape of each leg. Again, these 30-second sketches are meant to be really simple and just help you understand the movement and structure of the anatomy of the body. Now let's try 1 minute. Let's say you've already gotten to this point with the first 30 seconds of your 1 minute sketch. Now the rest of your time is going to be digging into those details, finding the shapes of the different accessories, the shape of the shadows, where the hair is falling, the fingers, the details of each skate and her socks. When you're doing these warm-ups, you'll find that the 30-second sketches go by really quick, so you can do up to 20 of them and see a lot of progress in a short amount of time. Your 1 minute gesture drawings are meant to capture a little bit beyond just the pure anatomy of the model. There's still not that much time to lay everything out, but at this stage, you're trying to also capture if they're wearing clothes, the shadow, their fingers, their feet, their toes. Not in the greatest of detail, but the essence, the gesture of those aspects of the figure. These practices will also help your hand and your mind build muscle memories, so you get in the practice of seeing what is there versus what your mind thinks is there. Also notice that I never went back in to erase anything. All my lines I correct in the process of drawing. That's why you want to start light and then add more pressure as you go deeper into the details. Now when you get to your 5-minute sketch, you'll be able to incorporate all of these elements to be able to create a good foundation and structure for the details and shading and all of the other things that you love to do. For these longer sketches, I do recommend to make sure that your reference photo that you're using is very clear. When you're mapping out shadows, it's really important to be able to understand and see every aspect of the model so that you can articulate that well in your drawing. Even if you're trying to focus more on, say, portraiture, these elements are still really important facets of being able to create a good foundation and structure for whatever kind of drawing you're trying to do. Let's see what it looks like in a portrait. Just like how we started our 30-second, 60-second, and 5-minute drawings, we're going to build the frame and structure of our face. By mapping out the negative space and breaking everything down into its most abstracted shapes, we'll be able to piece together all the aspects of this individual's face. The part that really gives someone their likeness is around the eyes and the brow. So you want to make sure you focus a lot of attention on shaping this area really well. In this case, we also want to map out the hair, the glasses, and the clothes as well. When you're practicing drawing, it might be really tempting to avoid accessories like these glasses, but you want to look at it like this is an additional tool at your aid to help you with measuring. So these kind of accessories will create new shapes in the negative spaces that you can use to help build the face. You want to do your best to follow all the angles that you see in your reference photo. So you can see here her face is angular. You see a diagonal coming down from the left side of the face. And there are subtle, nuanced kind of angles where, because she's looking up slightly, you might think you'd want to go cut all the way across to connect the face to the other side, but it actually dips down at the front and then comes back up along the jaw. This is why you don't want to just jump directly into shading your drawing, because you want to be able to find these little nuances that give the face even more of a likeness. In my personal opinion, I feel like it doesn't have to look exactly down to the tiniest detail like the reference photo that you're using, that there is some artistic value in putting your own like touch and mix into what you're drawing. That's kind of the art part of the whole thing. So in that regard, all the face has to do is make sense and have a general type of likeness, and then you can kind of carry it into whatever idea that you want. But at the base of things, you still want it to look like a person. As I start getting more into the shading part of my drawing, I switch from an H pencil to a B pencil. And I might start off first with like a 3B to get those middle tones in. You don't want to go too dark too soon with the shadows, specifically in the areas of the face. Like the hair, that might be okay, that the hair closest to the face. But in general, you don't want to jump too soon into it so that you can determine what the actual deepest, darkest shadows are. Because those shadows that you lay out right now against that white background are not going to look the same when you darken the background or darken the hair that's going to sit right next to the shadows on the face. You want to take your time working your way into those deep dark shadows, and remember that nothing on your face is going to be the same color as your white paper, except maybe the lightest lights. So like the highlights in the eyes, maybe the very like top of the nose, portions of the lip, but otherwise you are going to be shading basically every part of the face and the hair. And for those really dark shadows, I use the 8B pencil. These shadows are what will help render the rest of the face after you're done shading everything else. You'll notice different parts of the face start to pop and really start to come to life. Again, if you're trying to get a more realistic feeling in your drawing, you want to spend a lot more time on the midtones and the way they fall on the face. If you have any questions about drawing people or drawing in general, please let me know. There will be a part 2 to this. I also have a goal to get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube and on TikTok. If you subscribe on TikTok, it does help me put out my art magazine that I'm trying to create. You can also post your progress on my Discord. See you soon.